Hello and welcome everyone to Clicks and Classics Night Call. Last time we found out that we were in a coma after being attacked by a serial killer called the Judge. We got back on the streets a few weeks later, had our first few clients, and then the police officer approached us and kind of pressured us to be their informant and help them with the investigation. That is what we are doing now. We're back at our apartment and have to investigate the clues that she gave us. So, killer case, autopsy report. Okay, so let's check out the killer case. Oh, we just connected. Okay, so I guess those are the... are those suspects or are those the victims? Salim Vadian. Okay. Well-known lawyer from Sangwen, defender of the Noire case, defender of several molested kids in poor neighborhoods, was a promising football player when he was 10. Hervé Greu, a homeless man with an unknown background, briefly worked for Charles Bougrain, victim 2, in the 90s. Got health issues after Richardine health scandal. A couple of arrests for breaking and entering. Paul-Marie Fragonard, a retired cop, joined the police in 1977, divorced from a judge. Born in the French Antilles, moved to mainland France in 1976. Claudia Campos, medical examiner in Paris, escaped from Argentina when she was young, lost her parents into the Argentinian junta in the process. Pierrot Bataz, dad was a cop, financial affairs, died 2 years ago. Mom got health issues after Richardine health scandal. Gay in a relationship, never disclosed this information at work. So that's the second one connected to the Richardine health scandal. Interesting. Okay. Victims killed with one bullet in the neck. Killer K. Killer left message in chalk on first 3 crime scenes. Killer knew the victims or researched them. Death equals execution. Okay. Interesting. Picture of the crime scene. That's a new clue. Justice. Why is that connected to him? Guess this has to be. Don't quite understand why exactly it is connected to him. Given by Bisset. Okay, let's investigate the crime scene pictures. Okay, messages on crime scene 2. So these are connected probably because of the Richardine case, since these are the one with that, and their time is up. Okay. Then we have the autopsy report 3 and the autopsy report 4. Let's go to the board one more time. Okay, killer's heart under 1A. So that is connected to all of them. Let's put the one that are not connected away for now. And okay, you deserve this. Put this there just to clean things up a little bit. Time is up. One bullet. Death equals execution. Weapon, rare gun used in the 70s. Okay, that is... That can have killer left messages in chalk on first 3 crime cases. Interesting, okay. I guess we don't have more right now, so... That is our first set of evidence, or clues, I guess. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You open the sofa bed and lie down. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. This is going to be interesting, collecting the clues, finding out who might be it. You open one eye. For a second there, you hope the evidence board was just a dream too, but you can make it out in the shadows. You get up quickly. And a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 2. Okay. Ooh, we have a few... Can I... What's this? Okay, that just shows all... What is this? Is that maybe a crime scene? Let's drive there first. Can listen to the radio. Your finger is poised in front of the car radio. You're trying to find something to listen to. Should be about time for Top News Tonight, one of those call-in shows. Ooh. Listen to the news. You happen upon the nighttime news. After a few depressing headlines, the anchor announces the discovery of Roman ruins in the Ile de la Cité, just a few meters from Notre Dame Cathedral. They are apparently from an old temple built for an unknown goddess, probably something to do with the saint. As soon as the news is over, you turn the radio off so that the cab is silent again. That was not very helpful. Oh, I could also... Oh, damn it. Park a few streets away from the Argentinian embassy. You wait there for your contact. You sigh. It seems to be so odd to have a contact so excessive. The guy is one of your regular's poker buddies. A night watchman at the embassy. You get out of the taxi and walk towards the big metal gate. Clean lines, early 20th century maybe. Lots of wrought iron. The gate opens and someone moves toward you. They indicate you should follow them. The person's face is hidden by an oversized hoodie. Your heart starts beating faster. What if it was... Oh. You walk into a narrow covered passageway, probably the entrance to a parking garage. The man turns around and lights up a cigarette. The lighter lights up his face for a second. A young man with curly hair, pale skin. He looks young, very young. That'll be 250 euros. Is it worth it? Got as much as I could, so yeah. Want information on Goro de Cher? Got info on Goro de Cher. And it'll cost you 250 euros, so what'll be? Bargain. Raises his hands in front of his chest. His accent becomes stronger. No. It's 250 years or nothing. If someone learns I finished a round, they'll fire me on the spot. Fish to rope. Okay. For the price, you hope the intel is good, you pay. Listen up. Because I'm not gonna say it twice. Jordiche is definitely a colonel from the junta. One of the few who wasn't arrested and put on trial. He's responsible for torturing dozens of political opponents. He tortured and killed them. You know, we don't like him much here, but the rich Argentinians in Paris love him. They really respect him. Respected him? The difference doesn't seem important to him. Yeah, if it makes you happy. He looks back at you. There's one last thing. I read in the newspaper that the killer wrote a message in chalk. Time's up. It was a slogan at the end of the junta. Sort of watchword from the opponents. It was time for them to go. Get it? Yep. A second later, you're back in your taxi with a hole in your wallet, but with new information on one of the victims. If you follow this lead, maybe your investigation will move forward. You start the car and get back to your shift. That is very important information, you would think, since the one lady was connected to the junta and the Argentinian, so that could be pretty big. Let's get a passenger though. We need some money. Phil Bourgeois. Charles de Gaulle, make it snappy. Okay? The passenger who settles into the back seat could be a male model. He asks you to take him to Charles de Gaulle Airport. His voice is mild and pleasant. You sense your passenger wants to talk about the killer. It's simple. Since the first murder, everyone thinks they know something. Everyone thinks they saw something. And this passenger is no exception. Watch him in the rearview mirror as he adjusts his clothes, checks his breath, obviously pimping. You drive people to the airport all the time. They bring along a suitcase or a bouquet of flowers. The passenger doesn't have either. He's looking at himself in the rearview mirror. His lips part and he runs his tongue over his teeth. Nothing stuck in my teeth, right? You shake your head no. You wonder why he's going to the airport. You're wondering why I'm going to the airport, aren't you? Yes. I could tell you were curious. I'll tell you, but it's a secret. His voice has changed, as if he were about to deliver a speech. Women today are too smart for us men. Too smart. They're onto us the minute we try to hit on them. He crinkles his nose as if there was a bad smile on the cap. There are dozens of books on how to get lucky, on how to score, but they all make the same big mistake. You know what the mistake I'm talking about is? They're written by men. I don't see why that's a problem. After all, deer don't write books on hunting, do they? He smirks. Ugh. No, let me tell you. All those books about hitting on women never tell you where the best hunting grounds are. The theatrical pause. Airports. Another theatrical pause. It's brilliant, right? Women in airports are lonely, emotional, and available. On the street, they're always in a hurry, don't have any time. At the movies or in the museum, they don't want to be disturbed. But at the airport... He's clearly very proud of himself. He remains silent. He crinkles his nose and sniffs again. Is it me, or is there a funny smell in your cap? You sniff too. Sorry, didn't smell anything. He shrugs, then goes back to his monologue. Personally, I prefer older women. Let him talk. Single moms who are at the airport to pick up their or send their kids to their exes. They are waiting at the unaccompanied minors counter to get information about a late flight or gate change. I walk over the counter, look at the flight information, pretend to be worried. My sister, I say. I'm waiting for my little sister. She's never been to Paris before. I'm going to take her to the Louvre. She wants to work in fashion someday. She's already very talented. Hope everything is okay, that she has had a good flight. She means the world to me. She's my half-sister, but I love her like a sister. I smile. He takes another sniff, glances around the cab, then picks up where he left off. The half-sister line, it works every time. Divorced parents, remarried. Every time. Burst out laughing. Let's let him talk. A word of advice, though. You have to get there early. Make a day of it. Keep an eye on the domestic flights, the delays, the companies. It requires a little preparation, but I usually go home with 20, even 30 numbers. It's 6 hours. Not bad, eh? Another thing I wouldn't recommend... I wouldn't recommend Orly. The counters are a disaster there. You have to go back and forth between the different levels. It's exhausting. The neon lights, they ruin your eyes. No. Roisy is definitely the way to go. The domestic flights terminal. He rubs his hands together. I can feel it. Today is my lucky day. It's going to be amazing. You're going to fall for me big time. Can't resist. Give a slight cough and say, excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? Oh, of course not. Not at all. Anything to help you understand my game plan. Like, I would like to say this, but first of all, we are undercover. Second of all, we're working for tips, so that's the bane of every service industry. You want to tell so many people what kind of assholes they are. What do you do after all? After what? After you get their numbers. Ah, very good question. I rate all the women I talk to, give them stars on a scale of 1 to 5 according to appeal level. Like, he's the worst. If we meet the judge and the judge is like, okay, you can get all of my information if you let me kill one more person, then I will say, hey, I know this Phil guy. He hangs out at the airport. I go home and I start sending messages. First to the 3 stars. He drops his voice in annoying tones. They're the easiest. The best look easy ratio. Same thing the next day with the 4 stars. They usually play hard to get. They see themselves as real beauties. He sniffs with a look of disgust. Then the 5 stars. The day after that. Just to leave them hanging a little, to get them to doubt their own attractiveness. It's rule number 1 when you want to pick up women with my little strategy. Lower their sense of self-esteem. The cab pulls into the drop-off lane. Your passenger pays the fare and exits the cab. Like, here you give... I'll give you an exclusive dating tip, okay? Don't make the person that you're interested in feel like shit. That's a good way of going. Okay, so that's a good way to do. No matter if man or woman, don't make them feel like shit, and you're good to go. I'm telling you should take my advice. It's a piece of cake. Just need to come up with a good line or two. They all fall for that. It's really bizarre, that smell of shit. It seems to be following me wherever I go. Oh, it's his fucking shoe. He walks away. Under the sole of his right shoe, you catch a sight of a dark brown spot. The passenger disappears into the airport. You roll down the back seat window and start up the cab. Well, thanks for the money, I guess. Okay, we're still good on gas, so let's take the next passenger. close to us. I have to get back a little bit. Get back a little bit of money. Okay, that's pretty good fare. Your next passenger slides into the cab and slams the door rather violently. She gives you her address. You start driving. Give her a quick once-over. No suitcase, no purse, no pile of papers or tickets, no wedding band, and a look of defeat on her face. She dropped someone off at the airport. Not her kind, not her husband, not a colleague or a client. Who? Should I or shouldn't I? You raise your head. Excuse me? The passenger jumps. Oh, did I say that out loud? Her face turns crimson. I'm sorry, She shakes her head, apologizes profusely, and stumbles over her words. Is everything alright? Yeah, yes. It's just, She shakes her head slowly. It's a bit hard to understand what's going on with me right now. You sense she needs to talk about it. More like she must talk about it. Her voice is warm and deep, and has a stunning accent. The West Indies? I'm in shock. No, not the West Indies. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. On the contrary. I'm in love. Silence. She's from an island, but you can't tell which one. Out of the blue, just like that. Whereas I'm usually... She shakes her head. I'm usually the one people fall in love with. I'm demanding, complicated. I always have someone on my mind, but it's never the right person. This time it was reciprocal. She flashes an incredible smile. She's American, lives in Seattle. She's a journalist like me. She was here covering the terrorist trial. Our eyes kept crossing. We spent 4 days side by side. Just enough time for the trial to come to an end, for us to wrap up and spend an evening wandering along the banks of the Seine. Her eyes get a bit misty. It was cold out, but we didn't even notice. Her smile suddenly vanishes. And I just dropped her off at the airport. There you have it. She pauses. It was short, intense. We'll probably never see each other again. Maybe it's better this way. I mean, they could keep in contact, right? Let's go with it. A vacation romance. Exactly. In the dead of winter, but that's the idea. Just a fling. Just her body slightly and seems to forget you. She's lost in thought. You can see her lips move, tremble from the words she doesn't say out loud. Then suddenly you hear her whisper. "Oh, with her." An odd look takes over her face. Yes. Take a plane, follow her, find her. But she giggles. What would I tell work? I can't just... She doesn't bother finishing her sentence, even if she doesn't believe the lie she's telling. Yes, I have time to make up. Come time. It's the least my editor can do. She pauses. Yes. I mean, why not? She's got a layover in London, has to spend most of the day there. I go to the ticket counter and he stops. No, tickets will cost me a fortune. Besides... I know, I already looked. The flight is at 6. My eyes wander. Fortune. None of that was really intended for your ears, but you feel like answering all the same. What if she is the love of your life? She almost jumps. Love of my life? She leans towards you, wrinkles her forehead and smiles a genuine smile. So what kind of cab driver are you? I think we often make bad choices for the wrong reasons. Bad choices for the wrong reasons. That's deep. Let me think about that. Her gaze wanders outside to the road. Parisian suburbia, the yellowish street lamps. Do I really need this money? It's money I've saved up to go visit family, but when I'm there, I feel out of place. Like I'm suffocated. Where are you from? Reunion Island. You know what that is? Yeah, roughly. He shrugs. When I was younger, I thought I'd never be able to leave. And now, I feel like going back would be torture. She raises her hand abruptly. I'm the problem. It just doesn't feel like home anymore. My mom wants me to come every year, and she lets her sentence hang for a second. Seattle. She looks you straight in the eye. I have to go, don't I? I think so, yeah? Very well. Then turn around, please. As soon as you can, you turn around and start heading back to the airport. The road is empty, wide open. The last planes have already left, and the first ones won't take off for a few more hours. The passenger watches the road go by. I feel good. For the first time in months, like a weight has been lifted. I'm glad. Her grin gives color to her words. Just say that, like it's obvious, like it's a natural state. A lot of people are scared. They're in pain. They're suffering. She stares at you, a little smile on her lips. And you? How are you? The question throws you off guard, she can tell. It's complicated. The tone of your voice casts a chill over the cap. Okay, I didn't mean to. She shakes her head. We don't have to talk about it. The passenger is a journalist. Maybe she could help you, give you some information. I mean, some help would be appreciated. You need my help? You explain the situation, the attack, the hospital. Of course you leave out Busset. You don't talk about the wall at your place, the nightmares, your anxiety. I'm doing my own investigation. Her face lights up each time she learns something new. Didn't cover this story, but he slips into thoughtful silence as you park in a drop-off spot at the airport. I know someone. She gazes deeply into your eyes. The first plane to London doesn't leave until 6 a.m. I'll have time to call my contact. I'll send you what he knows about the judge. Between us, though, it's risky. The killer clearly knows people in high places. Not. And now, all I have to do is empty my bank account and wait for my plane. Time to go. She pays and gets out of the cab. You wave at her, a bit nonchalantly. She does the same. Watch her as she disappears into the terminal. I think we did a good thing here. I'm not sure when I will have to refill my gas tank. What's this guy again? I don't really want to talk to him, honestly. Let's listen to the radio again. You happen upon the nighttime news. Crime novelist being interviewed about his latest book brings up the judge. He's quick to say that, according to his sources, the first victim owed money to the mafia. And actually thinks the whole case is linked to organized crime. The judge is just a front for the real criminals. Interesting. As soon as the news is over, you turn the radio off so that the cab is silent again. That's interesting. That's some interesting information. Okay, let's drive Santa. Champs-Élysées, I think. Yeah. Okay. It is actually Santa. I didn't even know that. He just looked like Santa. Your next passenger smells like beer. No, it's even worse. It's like every single fiber of his Santa suit has been soaking in a keg. Go on, dash away. His breath is 96% brandy. My eyes are starting to sting. I'm parked somewhere near the Champs-Élysées. Oh, shit. Name of the street is... His head is spinning and he does his best to hang onto the door. Impasse. I'll come back to me. Go ahead, drive. You start driving and suddenly wonder how to ask your passenger if he has enough money to cover the fare. You glance back at your passenger. He's mumbling to himself, but you can't quite make out what he's saying. Christmas is over, so why is he still dressed up? What's the suit for? Turns to look at you wide-eyed. Suit? Oh. Well, yeah, the Santa suit. Silence. More silence. Is he so drunk he doesn't even realize he's wearing a costume? This is no costume, kid. This is what I wear to work. Just like you know? Points at his clothes. You don't dress like that in real life, do you? Stares at you and bursts out laughing. I'm messing with you, kid. Lowers his voice. He's confiding in you. After working my ass off all year long, I like to hit my favorite pubs and get monumentally wasted. He guffaws. Here in Paris, there's a bunch of bistros perfect for such an occasion. No one talks to you and they have white wine, so dry it eats away the inside of your mouth. So many different types of brandy, pear brandy, cognac. He closes his eyes in delight. Sometimes I order just one eeny weeny beer to cleanse the palate. He's almost whispering. Okay, it's usually not one of them fancy microbrews there. He jumps. Oops. Don't tell anyone, okay? Just imagine if people found out Santa Claus thought the beer here tastes like piss. He laughs a sparkling laugh. When he stops, it's just to throw out non-committally. Anyway, I can't say anything anymore. Honestly, with all the trouble I go to, people should just leave me the fuck alone. All those fair weather activists, they still want their little snot-nosed miracles to get the latest stupid toy. Oh hey, speaking of snot-nosed kids, what is it with these manure pile of new generation? 50 years back you could give a kid a book and he'd go on about his whole life, all starry-eyed. Today's little whiners, what an eyesore. Fucking hell. I want to have it all, but they don't like anything. They all have Shazam when they're 8. Those things cost a whole month's wages. How can you possibly make them happy after that? How? He's staring at you, waiting for an answer. No idea. He raises his hand. At least you're honest enough to say you don't know. I appreciate your honesty. He closes his eyes, like he's taking a moment's rest. You want me to tell you what they really want? What kids these days want are machine guns and dolls whose hair you can fix. Seems to have calmed down for a second, but it was just an illusion. Speaking of which, both girls and boys like those dolls whose hair you can fix. He twitches his mustache in silence. Back when I still made toys for kids, I can tell you they couldn't care less about me. Couldn't give a damn. They just wanted to have fun, play, laugh, and forget that parents were losers. Leans over to you, rife with anger. Fuck, that's the real problem, I'm telling you. Parents are losers. Idiots. Putting kids into this world? Those guys haven't got any clue. Am I right or am I right? I mean, have you seen the state of the ice cap these days? Have you, huh? Because there's not much of it left. He pauses. No, I can't say it's all bad. Don't have as many polar bears coming into my yard. Damn nasty beast, vicious, mean. I'm not sad to be rid of him. He heaves a long sigh through his beard. Before, things were different. Tears form at the corner of his eyes. Shit, can't talk about the past without crying like a little girl. He throws you a sideways glance. No need to stare. Didn't even have time to react, and he starts back into his rant. I remember you, you know? To tell the truth, I remember everyone. Every single person. You were an angry one. So terribly angry. And your letters, your handwriting, holy fuck, where the hell were they held to decipher? Don't worry though, the elves handled all that for me. You could hear a hint of disgust in his voice when he brought up the elves. Otherwise, I wouldn't have time to do nothing. Yeah, you were just furious. It's like someone punched you in the stomach. Your brother was giving you hell. Someone wrenching your gut. Man, what an... He suddenly thinks of something and stops talking. His gaze wanders outside. Anyway, let's talk about something else. How do you know all that? You still don't know who I am? You stare at him in the mirror. Look, kid, I'm not gonna spell it out for you. And something tells me you'd rather avoid the subject. It was something called jail. Whoa. Well, that's your Christmas present. I'm not gonna talk about it. Smiles, open his wide eyes. Wait, I think we're almost there. Slow down a bit, kid. Searches outside for her. What are you looking for? We're looking for my sleigh, kid. What else? He looks at you with pity. It shouldn't be hard to spot. That's the sleigh and a couple of half-dozen reindeer. He's a funny sign. I'm sure it's like in an alleyway somewhere. All right over there, turn right. You better go up the street where a few seconds before. A few meters down, your passenger stifles a yelp. Oh shit, it was right here. Drive around the block. Turn again. And back your passenger is mumbling. I'm gonna have to get one of these thingamajings, a GPS. I'd help me find my sleigh more easily. Eventually pull over in an alley. No light, a few empty office buildings, and some trash cans that haven't been emptied for days. Kid, sorry about before. Didn't mean, to bring up any sore points. Pace is fair. Watch your back, kid. That was one suspicious Santa. Slips out on the sidewalk, grabs onto a street lamp. With a heavy and awkward step, he clumps along the alley. Let's stay for a second. You sit for a moment, watching him. At the end of the alleyway, he starts rummaging through a pile of boxes, pushes a trash can on wheels aside, and disappears. A few minutes go by, and nothing. You turn the key and start driving again. You open the window for a second, hoping to get rid of the alcohol fumes. Somebody tells you they'll stick around for a while. Gave some tip, though. Better than the politician guy. First episode. But I think this is a good point to take a short break. There was a lot to take in with Santa. Thank you all for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Share the video with friends, family, and the people on the internet. That all helps me out a whole bunch and will bring you more content in the future. I will be back with more Clicks and Classics Night Call tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.